On the surface, the thought of Kyoko Hiro and Izumi Mira getting along would be the last thing in people's minds. After all, Hori has a perfect combination of beauty and brains, while Miyori appears meek and distant to his fellow classmates. However, a fateful meeting between the two lays both of their hidden selves bare. Even though she is popular at school, Hori has little time to socialize with her friends due to her housework, and on the other hand, Minori lives under the noses of peers, his body is bearing secret tattoos and piercings that make him look like a gentle delinquent. Having opposite personalities yet sharing odd similarities, the two quickly become friends and spend time together in Hori's home. As the both emerge from their shells, they share with each other a side of themselves concealed from the other world. This anime has about 13 episodes. It premiered January 10th, 2021 to April 4th, 2021. It does have an alternate version. It is based off a popular manga series. It is comedy, romance, and slice of life. The school is themed. The demographic is children. Each episode is 20 minutes per episode, and it's rated PG-13. Now let's get started into the review. What I really like about Horimiya is that Horimiya is that it is really well written and the graphics are stunning, and I feel like this is one of the animes that falls deeper into the categories of a rom-com than anything else, like a romantic comedic rom-com, which I think is kind of funny because you're dealing with all the tropes that are in rom-com. And I feel like, don't get me wrong, you have a high school student who has no friends, seems antisocial, and then you have the girl who's like a social butterfly on surface, but then when they get home, they're completely two different personifications, and that's totally fine. It's kind of like how we are in our almost everyday life. We kind of wear this mask while we're in high school, and our lives become more busier. I feel like for me personally, I kind of relate to this character because, I was a very social butterfly in high school. I had a good amount of friends. I was in the drama club. I worked, but outside of that, I never really hang out with my friends because I'm always working on the weekends, so I never really had time to hang out with them truly. And I feel like with this one, the storyline of it, this popular girl at school, she works hard to care for her family and doesn't really have time to socialize, while the other student really has no friends and has secret tattoos and piercing and has a very edgy personality. And when these two finally meet, as you see in the first slideshow up here on the screen, is that they're both taken back because the girl does not recognize her own classmate, which was kind of interesting. And then I think it's kind of interesting how these two kind of bond over their secret life, despite the boy's edgy appearance. The main protagonist girl does not judge him, and she encourages him to come out of his shell more to find friends. And in return, he does everything in his possible power to make her happy, and I think also the simplicity of it as the progression in the show, as these two, I won't give it away, tackle a lot of issues with like sexual awakening, developing, the side character, development with, self-acceptance, and, it, instead of like rushing to the story, it takes it at a very, good pace while repeating some of the, jokes that they have in the show, and, tons of cliches, and I think kind of works for it. I think also the premise of it is very simple, seeing how this relationship feels very genuine, and it begins off as playing as friends who get along despite their differences. And I will say a little bit about the main character. At first he's very quiet, very introverted, doesn't like school, whole typical cliche requirements. He speaks very little about his personal life. He stands out from generic character design. Looking simply at him, why does he have tattoos? Why does he have dye piercings? Why does he have such long hair? And even though these questions are very answered, they're very cut and dry to the point. And I think about in each episode, they kind of delve back to his very dark and distant past and his backstory, which is presented with a lot of washed out, like faint mute colors, and along with the darkened background to highlight his depressed state of mind, which is very good representation of his melodramatic past. Seems more interesting than that. But then when you have Horu's help to cover his trauma, his depression, his isolation, which is rather quickly, when I think about that, has the most significant, obstacles with his inability to say how he truly feels. That means talking to others might be very difficult, considering he doesn't make a lot of friends, and kind of helps him get more out of himself to communicate his feelings and trying to communicate like what he truly wants to say to others. I think the story is very self-aware of that, and it kind of is at a very slow pace, but make sure that you understand. And I think also for the girl, that he's trying to like come outside his shell for, that, it just takes everything of its own like pacing. And I think overall, You know, it does show all the other characters in supporting cast, like what they're going through, the struggles that they're going through, and the obstacles that they go, whether that be first love, rejection, or acceptance, or just, you know, relationships about. I think every relationship is about compromise, and compromise is in, that can go both ways. Learning to love someone is required to give and take, you know, and some relationships are acceptable that way, but some way, you know, that can be very toxic, or it just depends on how you would view this. And I think also how the characters kind of like grow and do their own character development and become their own person and change over time, I think is very interesting and very, it's really nice to see a whole group of characters like develop and grow and evolve from, you know, in this from a manga standpoint, they do show more character development and more plot progression in this anime, which I really enjoyed a lot. I really enjoyed, like, you know, the two different sides of the social spectrum, like adapting into this very light-hearted rom-com, and, you know, the romance was there, but it wasn't like pushing it. I think it was very slow and sweet to the point which I really like, you know, having these two students with two very vast different personalities, and the way it ended was really good. I really did give this anime like a 8 out of 10. It was very sweet, very loving, which I thoroughly enjoy. A good rom-com that has a very like slow pace, you're not rushing anything, but overall I think, you know, it definitely lives up to the manga standpoint. When the manga did end a few weeks ago, and when this anime did come out, and I think also, like, after watching this, there are some ups and downs. Anime proves to be very, you know, good way it's moving in the direction of its characters. It had me a really good accepting story, which I really loved a lot, and I hopefully y'all will enjoy it too when y'all check it out. But definitely tell me which character from this anime is your favorite, and which character did you kind of relate to in some sense, that kind of like you were rooting for them to the end. But definitely let me know down in the comments below and what animes you'll be to review next. But until then, I will see you next time. Bye.